Hello, everybody. This is Kevin Smith speaking to you. I am the Senior Financial Advisor at IPC Bedford office in Nova Scotia. And today is April 7th, and I'd like to just share some thoughts and feelings with my clients and friends out there. First of all, I think I'd like to start with an update on us as the Smith team and let you know how we're all doing. Starting with Nadia and Christine, um, I can tell you that they're probably having the toughest time of the four of us, simply because they're mothers to very small children. And speaking with them yesterday in an office video conference call, they let us know that yeah, they don't have a whole lot of spare time on their hands, with their daycares being shut down and schools being shut down, and both in both cases their husbands are still working hard. So pretty tough for them to get a normal work day in, but they're managing quite fine, and thankfully everybody in those two families is healthy and active and following the rules. Um, Chelsea, well, to be honest with you, Chelsea's an all-star. I mean, we're all all-stars, I'd like to think, but Chelsea, being the youngest of the five of us, and the one that lives closest to the office in the city, boy, is she ever getting a lot of our stuff done for us. And between her and Janet, really, honestly, they're really keeping the administration, the routine of the office going, and they're both doing fairly well. They're both doing well, all things considered, and I'm grateful to all four of those ladies for the work that they're continuing to do for me and for you as clients. Um, I let everybody know in the office, and I'd like to let you know that even though it's tough times for everybody out there, I have no intentions of letting any of my staff go. They're very important to me. They're like family to me, and we're going to deal with this as a team. And I fully expect that when everything slowly starts to return to normal, the same people will be there as have been there for us over the last couple of years and even longer. In the case of myself, well, I'm finding it difficult, to be honest with you. I haven't been shy with my clients. I'm a very open person with them. I'm very social, and I do miss my friends and my clients and my family and my buddies at the pub. But what I'm filling my time with, or trying to anyways, is, aside from watching the news, which is not the healthiest thing to do, is you might not know, but I'm a hobby brewer. I like to brew my own beer, and I've been doing a good job with that lately. I don't know if that's the healthiest thing to be doing at this time. Another thing that you might not know I like to do is I like to bake bread, and well, now it's become all the rage out there, and I don't eat a lot of bread, but I sure like baking it and giving it to others. And also, I've taken some time to start to get back to my project of an old MG. Actually, it's a 79 MGB. I've owned it since 1986, and it runs and works great, but a few years ago I started the process of tearing it down uh, and building her back up again, so that it looks a heck of a lot nicer, and it looks as good as it rides. So been doing a bit of that. Um, I want to talk. Oh, I should let you know that our family had a COVID-19 test. Somebody in my immediate family, Janet and our immediate family, and it was quite an interesting experience. I mean, of course, it was frightening at first because one of us was experiencing flu-like symptoms. The call went in to, I think it was 811, and they were screened over the telephone. Book time was booked for them to go to the Valley Hospital to get a test. That happened. Report was that it was very professionally done and they were well prepared. And then the result came 24 hours later, and the test was negative. So that was obviously a big relief, but also a confidence booster for us, because I can tell you that from what I heard from that experience is that our local health officials are doing a good job, and we never felt that anybody was falling through the cracks or anybody was too busy to take care of our family members. So thank you very much to the health services. I want to give you a brief chat on the current situation, at least the way I see it. And again, it appears that it's being proven to us that there are times when the market movement seems to defy the prevailing sentiment that exists at a given point in time. And that's what seems to be happening right now. Remember, I mentioned to you in a previous blog and other times in the past that the markets are discounting mechanisms, which means that they anticipate the future and try to assign a value today based on events in the future. And over the last week or so, there has been, a little more stability in the markets. In fact, more up movement than down. And the irony there is that in North America especially, we're going to be immersed in the next 2 or 3 weeks in probably the worst of the curve that we're going to endure, and it's going to be tough to watch. But what is happening in Europe, especially southern European countries like Italy and Spain, which were particularly hard hit, is that they're starting to see clear results of their public health measures, and their numbers of cases, new cases, and deaths are starting to come down. There are already many countries in Europe, and they're not the only ones in Europe, that are starting to see results. And even in Italy, they are openly starting to talk about how to implement phase 2. Phase 2 means how do we move from a full lockdown situation to an economy that needs to get back up and running again. That won't be the flip of a switch. That will be a process, and it'll have to be well thought out, but it's starting to happen already. Keep in mind that in North America, we're behind them. So our local news and the things that we're seeing in our communities, in our countries, in our cities, will not necessarily be the same story as what we're watching in Europe, because we're lagging them. And we may have the unpleasant reality of watching things get far worse south of the border than they get in Canada. And because we're so attached to or so integrated, I guess, into American economy and culture and so on, there'll be a tendency for us to believe that to be overwhelmed, I suppose, by these feelings and concerns. But I'd like us to do our best to kind of see through this and see that there are places in the world where things are already starting to get better. Also, in my calls with many of you, and we're still trying to make calls. It's an ongoing thing. It's the best thing that we can do or try to do at these times. I am coming across instances of mental health challenges in some of my friends and clients, and this is understandable, and it's a real problem. And I think in some way all of us have a role that we can play in alleviating that type of suffering. I personally suffer at times. I think most of you know that, and it's a challenge sometimes to get up and get your fight on, so, and carry on with the day. But and you know, it's a challenge. But what I find, and I think many of you might find who suffer, is that sometimes the best help, to help you feel better, is to be aware of somebody else who is struggling with mental health or anxiety issues, and help them. I know in my case that's an enormous help, when I know that even though I'm having a hard time, that I can still help somebody else. So I encourage all of you, all of us, to try to reach out, even if it's tough for you. Reach out to people from your past or your present, and just offer an opportunity to chat and see if anybody out there needs any help in the form of kind words or encouragement. So that's where we're at right now. And I do want to let you know that we miss all of you a lot. We are also going to soon be turning our attention to how do we get back to a better functioning practice, and how do we have meetings in the office. We have a small space, as you know, and it's going to be tough to maintain social distancing even when things start to improve. But I am starting to think about these things, and I sure am looking forward to seeing all of you, and I miss you very much. Anyways, take care of yourselves and each other, and remember to reach out to other people not in your household, and be considerate of other people's mental health. And if any of you are finding a hard time to find somebody to talk to, um, reach out to me. Okay, I have been exposed to these types of issues in the past. I'm not afraid of them. I suffer from them, and I wouldn't want to find out that somebody could have used the conversation from me and I didn't know about it. Thank you very much to everybody, and hang in there, and we'll see you on the other side.